Why does your number climb overnight while you're asleep, doing absolutely nothing wrong? I'm Frank. I'm 83. I live alone now, have for 6 years. And for a long stretch of that time, the first thing I did every morning wasn't make coffee. It was sit on the edge of the bed and stare at a little machine, waiting for a number, already braced for it to be high. It almost always was. I'm 83, and I still get up before sunrise, water the tomatoes on my back porch, and walk 2 miles before most of my neighbors have opened their curtains. Clear-headed, steady on my feet. Not the man people picture when they hear 83 and diabetic and living alone. I tell you that now because you need to know the man talking to you isn't guessing from a textbook. I've lived every one of these mornings. But for years, I was the guy staring at the meter, feeling betrayed by my own body. Here's what nobody explained to me for the longest time. I did everything by the book. Watched my dinner, skipped the roll, took my medication right on schedule, same time every night, never missed a dose. And the next morning, high again. Not a little high. High enough that I'd sit there doing math in my head, trying to figure out what I'd done wrong the night before, when the honest answer was, nothing. That's the part that wears you down, not the number itself, the feeling that your own body has stopped listening to you. You do the right things, and it doesn't matter. You start to wonder if you're just broken, if this is what 83 looks like, if there's no point trying anymore. I want to tell you plainly, that feeling is wrong, and it's not your fault. Because here's what's actually happening while you sleep. Research on aging and blood sugar describes something doctors call the dawn phenomenon. In the hours between about 2 and 4 in the morning, your liver does something it's supposed to do. It releases stored sugar into your bloodstream, priming your body to wake up with energy. In a younger, more insulin-sensitive body, that release gets mopped up quietly. But after 60, especially with years of insulin resistance built up, that release doesn't get cleaned up the same way. The sugar just sits there, climbing. And by the time you wake up, the number on the meter is showing you a process that happened while you were unconscious, not a reflection of your willpower at dinner. I remember the night I first understood this. I'd made a small dinner, vegetables, a little chicken, nothing that should have moved the needle, and the next morning, the number was still high. I almost gave up trying that week. It wasn't the food. It was never really about the food alone. It was what my liver was doing at 3 in the morning while I was fast asleep and couldn't do a thing about it. And there's a second piece connected to this that almost nobody puts together. It has to do with what happens to that liver release when your sleep itself is disrupted. And I'll get to exactly how that connects in a minute, because it's the part that changed things for me. You do everything right. You eat clean, you take your pills, and the next morning that number is still too high. I know that frustration. I lived it for years. They never tell you about the morning rise. Your sugar climbing while you sleep, no matter what you did the day before. You wake up, you test, and it feels like the work didn't count, like you're stuck depending on more and more and getting nowhere. I was done feeling powerless. I didn't want to throw out my doctor's plan. I wanted something natural and simple I could add to it, something that finally moved that morning number. I'll walk you through what changed it for me. And the natural support I add every day is in the free presentation linked below. The habit I settled into, always alongside my doctor, never instead of my medication, was something small I started doing about 90 minutes before bed. A small handful of Tart cherries, or a small glass of Tart cherry juice with no sugar added. It sounds almost too simple to matter, and for a long time I doubted it would do anything at all. Here's the mechanism behind it, and it's not folklore. Research on sleep and hormones has documented that Tart cherries are one of the few natural foods that contain measurable amounts of melatonin, the hormone that helps regulate your sleep cycle. That matters more than it sounds like, because studies on sleep quality and blood sugar have found a real association between poor, fragmented sleep and higher morning glucose readings. When sleep is disrupted, cortisol, your body's stress hormone, tends to run elevated through the night. And elevated cortisol is one of the signals that tells your liver to keep releasing sugar. Better sleep, calmer cortisol curve overnight, less of that unchecked liver release by morning. That's the chain. Not magic, physiology. But I want to be honest with you the way I'd want someone honest with me. One habit alone rarely moves a number that's been stuck for years. It works best as part of a small system, And this is the part I wish someone had told me a decade ago. Alongside the tart cherry at night, I added two other things. First, a short walk, even just 10 minutes right after dinner. Not a power walk, just moving. Your muscles pull glucose out of your bloodstream through a pathway called GLUT4 that doesn't even need insulin to work. 10 minutes of walking after a meal does real, measurable work clearing sugar before bedtime, which gives your liver less to compound overnight. Second, I pay attention to magnesium. Research has found that a meaningful portion of people living with type 2 diabetes run low in magnesium, and magnesium plays a direct role in how sensitive your cells are to insulin. A handful of pumpkin seeds or a small serving of leafy greens at dinner became part of the routine, again, alongside what my doctor already had me doing, never replacing it. 3 small things. A short walk after dinner, attention to magnesium-rich food, and the tart cherry habit before bed. Not one miracle fix, a system that gives your body less reason to fight itself while you sleep. I want to walk you through why the order matters, because I got this wrong myself at first. I started with just the tart cherry, expecting it alone to carry the whole weight. It helped a little, but the number still crept up some mornings. It wasn't until I added the walk after dinner, even just to the mailbox and back twice, that I noticed a real difference within a couple of weeks. The walk does its work in the 2 or 3 hours right after eating, clearing sugar before it ever has a chance to sit overnight and compound with what the liver adds later. The magnesium-rich food at dinner works on a slower timeline. It's about the cells themselves becoming a little more responsive to insulin over weeks, not overnight. And the tart cherry does its work in the hours you can't control at all, the ones you're asleep for. 3 different windows of the night, 3 different things doing their part. That's why it never worked as well when I tried just one piece alone. I'm not telling you to throw out your medication. I would never tell you that. And if anyone online tells you to stop what your doctor prescribed, walk away from them. What I'm telling you is that there are things within your control, even at 83, even living alone, that work alongside your treatment instead of against it. I think about the people my age who gave up on their numbers ever moving again, and the ones who didn't. What separated them usually wasn't willpower at the dinner table. It was paying attention to the hours nobody watches, the ones between midnight and sunrise, and giving the body a little help through them. These days, I drive myself wherever I need to go. I carry my own groceries up the porch steps without stopping to catch my breath, and I still make it to the community center twice a week for cards with people half my age keeping up with me. There was a woman named Marjorie who used to sit near me at the community center, always talking about how discouraged she felt. She'd done everything right for years, and her morning number never budged. When she started paying attention to that overnight window instead of just her dinner plate, she told me it was the first time in years she felt like her own effort was actually connecting to something. Not a cure, not overnight, but movement after years of feeling stuck. That's what I want for you. Not a promise that your number vanishes tomorrow. A door back into believing your body can still respond, even now, even at your age. If you watched this whole thing, you're not the type who gives up. You're the type who keeps looking for a real answer. So let me be straight with you. The morning number isn't your fault, and it isn't just diabetes. It's the dawn rise, and it responds to the right daily habits. The goal was never to quit your treatment. It was to support it naturally so you finally see that number move and feel in control again. Alongside the steps I showed you, I take a simple, natural support every day to help keep my blood sugar in a healthy range. Affordable, easy, and it works with my doctor's plan, not against it. The free presentation is in the description below. Go see it for yourself. And keep your doctor in the loop. This is support, not a replacement. If you're staring at your own meter tomorrow morning, dreading that number the way I used to, I want you to know it's not a verdict on who you are or what you did wrong at dinner. It's a process, happening quietly overnight, and processes can be worked with. Drop your morning number in the comments below. I read every one of them, and I promise you, you are not alone in this. There are people your age, my age, sitting with the same machine, the same fear, every single morning. Talk to your doctor about anything you try, always alongside your care plan, never instead of it. And if this helped you understand your own body a little better, subscribe. There's more of what I've learned waiting for you, and I'd like you to have